2006, there was a different proposal too that was up. Same thing, polls were saying this is not going to happen, things aren't going to be that way. But we got complacent at the end. What we can't afford with Senator Obama is to get complacent and let things just be in this hope that something's going to happen. Right now, we ask that you stand with us. Stand with us by making some phone calls, by knocking on some doors, by bringing a friend to go vote with you. You don't have to wait till next Tuesday. You can vote absentee, but we need you to stand with us. Right now, we need you to stand and not be quiet and not be hopeful that something's going to happen. Is anyone with me right now? Right now, I need you to stand. And think about those last 4 days. Think about what you can do over those last few hours. Think about what Senator Obama can do when he's president. Think about the change that's going to come to the country when it is. Think about what you can do when there is a President Barack Obama. In 9 days, you changed the country. In 9 days, you changed Michigan. In 9 days, you changed the world. God bless you.
Sworn into office by Judge Damon Keith, September 19, 2008. A former journalist, Wayne County Commissioner, and community activist. And he most recently served as the president of the Detroit City Council. Put your hands together for Mayor of Detroit, Kenneth B. Yapac.
Yes, I'm also supporting Senator Barack Obama for president. In November, I'm looking forward to turning out a strong Democratic vote from the city of Detroit and from southeastern Michigan so that we can ensure that come January 2009, we make it President Barack Obama. And I'm hopeful that by making that move, we can usher in a new era of tolerance and appreciation for diversity in this country. Because I think that's something that, unfortunately, over the course of the past several years, we've lost. I think this country, on a certain level, post-9/11, lost sight of the value of the fact that diversity has always been a source of strength for this country. That we have always been at our best and at our strongest when we recognize and appreciate our differences rather than fear those differences. And in fact, in some cases, try to lock up or persecute those that are different simply because of the fact that they are different. And it's critical that in November we turn the tide and prepare ourselves to write a new chapter in this country's history. And I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. What I mean by saying write a new chapter is that we cannot afford to go back. I'm going to tell you a story about a conversation I had several years ago, back in 2002. I had an opportunity, back at that time I was not the mayor, I was not even president of the Detroit City Council, I was serving as the president pro tem, which basically is just a fancy word for vice president of the Detroit City Council. And I had an opportunity to attend a 1-month program at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University. So I applied for the program and was lucky enough with some support to actually be accepted into the program. So once I got accepted into the program, I went and spent the month of June 2002 at the Kennedy School of Government. And of course, as we know, that was only at that time maybe about 9 months or so after 9/11. And when I participated in the program, which I have to say was probably one of the best experiences of my life, at that time when I was in it, I was participating with a variety of state and local elected officials from throughout the entire country. Some of these were elected officials, some were actually appointed officials that were serving for county governments or city governments or state governments in an appointed capacity. And during one of the weeks that I was there, I got into a conversation with a woman that recently had gotten appointed at that time to a new job with the Department of Homeland Security. You know, we got into a discussion about where I was from and where she was from, and during the course of our conversation, she asked, you know, so where are you from? What city are you from? And I mentioned the fact that I was from Detroit. And she said, oh, She said, doesn't Detroit have a large Middle Eastern population? And I said, well, yes, as a matter of fact, it does. As a matter of fact, the city of Detroit and the metropolitan Detroit area is actually home to the largest concentration of folks from the Middle East outside of the Middle East itself. And she paused for a moment. She got this real suspicious look on her face. And she said, and no one knows what they're doing, do they? And in response to that question, here's what I said to her. That's not true. I can tell you what they're doing. What they're doing is they're raising families. They're sending their kids to schools. They're working jobs. They're running and opening new businesses, not only in Detroit, but throughout Dearborn and throughout southeastern Michigan. And they are doing their part, just like any other American, to realize the American dream. So if you want to know what they're doing, that's what they're doing. And it's unfortunate that on a certain level, over the course of the past couple of years, this country lost its way, and we forgot that. We forgot that Yemeni Americans and other Americans from throughout the Middle East, yes, they may have the word Yemeni in front of their name, or they may have the word Chaldean in front of their name, or they may have another hyphen in front of their name. But at the back end of that, they are Americans. And too many of us in this nation have forgotten that. Too many of us have forgotten, as I said earlier, that diversity is not something to be feared. It's something to be embraced. It's something to be appreciated. It's something to be recognized. And most importantly, we need to recognize the fact that it has always been the case in this country that the diversity of our people makes the rich tapestry of American life. It is having different people, different cultures represented in this country that has always made us stronger, has always made us better, has always made us a leader throughout the entire world. So as was mentioned just a few moments ago by Mike Blake, a dynamic young brother who is doing his part to ensure that Barack Obama is elected president, every single one of us needs to step up and make sure that we complete that mission. We need to accept that mission and we need to fulfill that mission, because if we do not, we are going to be treated to another 4 years of what we've had to deal with. We are going to be treated to another 4 years of many of the people in this room being persecuted, disregarded, disrespected, insulted, and feared just because of how you look, who you worship, and your culture. I say enough is enough. That it is time for us to turn the tide. I say that it's time for us to write a new chapter in this country's history. We can do it. It's within our grasp. But most importantly, in order for us to really seize it and take advantage of it and make it a reality, we have to not get complacent. We have to not only go to the polls, but we have to take people to the polls. We have to fulfill the mandate. We have to accept the mission. And most importantly, we have to complete the mission. You remember, and we talk about missions, let's not forget that at one point,